Hello everyone. In this video we'll discuss some important functions that can be applied on strings. So let's first create a string s is equal to Python. Okay. Now the first function I'm going to explain is called as len, L-E-N. By using this len function you can find out how many characters are there in a given string. So if you type length of s, then it prints 6. So this is 6 characters. And of course if you have spaces here like Python space code, okay, now when you apply length of s, it displays 11. So how is it calculating 11? 6 characters before the space, then the space itself 7, and plus 4, 11. So this is what len function is doing here. The second function is called as count. So how do you use it? Okay, suppose you have a string. Let me take this again, s is equal to Python. Or let me take s is equal to, for example, my name. Okay. Now in this string, if I want to count and display how many times the letter A is appearing in the string. Okay. So for that purpose I can use the count function. And to use the count function, you have to type s dot count. Okay, and inside these brackets you have to write the character which you want to count, and remember it must be written in quotation marks. So when you press enter key, it shows 2 here, which means the letter A is appearing 2 times in the given string. Let's try and change this letter, first letter, to uppercase letters, and let's try this function again, s.count A. So what it displays now is 1. So as you know, Python is a case sensitive language, so when you are counting small a, it will count small a only. It will ignore capital A if it finds it anywhere in the given string. And of course you can use it with print function as well, like print s dot count, and what to write, single quotes A. So it still works this way. Now the next function is called replace. So for some reasons, if you have a string, for example this, and for some reasons if you want to replace a character, then you can achieve that with this function called as replace. So how to use it? S dot replace. Here you have to write 2 things. The first thing is what to replace. So I want to replace small t, for example, and then comma, then in another string you have to write with what you want to replace it. So suppose I want to replace it with asterisk sign. So as you can see that t is gone and now it's replaced by star sign. Now when you print s again, you might assume that it is going to display this value, okay, but it displays the old value, which can also be said as original string. So the thing here is, when you use replace function like this, it displays the output alright for the time being, but it does not change the original string s. And if you want to change the original string, you have to use the assignment operator. Okay, so s is equal to, then you can write this code here and this should work. So print s. See, so what's happening here is whatever output this function is producing is stored back in s. So the older value of s is gone and now it has a new value, which is of course this value. So I hope it is clear to you. Now you must have observed one thing while we have discussed these functions, that there are two categories of functions. Okay, there are two styles of using functions in Python. Let me write them here for you. First category is called independent functions, and second category can be called as object specific functions. Independent functions are those functions where you don't need to specify the object on which the function is performing the operation. For example, when you used len function, okay, you did not specify the string onto which the len function is operating. In other words, you can say you don't have to write s dot len here. Okay, so where do you write s? Inside the brackets. So that way you can say len is an independent function. On the other hand, talking about object specific function, they are the functions that must be called with the help of object. So for example, you just saw s dot count and s dot replace. You cannot call these functions simply by their names like count s or replace s, something like that. You must use them with the object s here. So it must be written s dot count and s dot replace, whereas in this category, independent functions, you just have to write the function names. What can be the other example? You know them. Print is an independent function. Input is an independent function. There are so many of them. And object specific function, you have count, replace, and in future you will come to know that what are the other functions that can be put in this category, object specific function. So this is one little thing that I wanted you to remember when we go along. So let's close this window now, coming back to our idle window and discussing the other functions. So the next function I want to explain is, suppose I have a string where I have Python written in small letters, and now I want to convert it into all capital letters. So how can you do it? You have to use a function called as upper. And again, upper is an object specific function. I hope the meaning is clear to you now. So upper is another object specific function. That means it must be called with the object, and with the object you have to use a dot sign and then the function name. So you write s dot upper, and as you can see, your job is done. But when you print s, it shows Python is still in small letters. The reason is again same as I explained earlier with the other function, that when the upper function is executed, it displays the output for the time being, but it does not change the original string. If you if you want to change the original string, again you have to use the assignment operator with the variable in which you want to store the output. So I want to store the output in same variable s. So s is equal to whatever s is dot upper. And if you print s now, it displays the string in uppercase letters, and s has been changed now. So that's it for upper function. So like upper, you can have a lower function. So s dot lower, it displays the string in lowercase letters, but it has not changed the original string, as you can see. And if you want to change the original string, you have to write s is equal to s dot lower, of course. And then when you print s, it displays the given string again in small letters. So I hope this upper and lower are clear to you, quite easy to understand. Now there are situations where you need to check the string, okay, whether it is in uppercase letters or in lowercase letters. So for that also we have functions in Python. So let me store another string here, like RAJ SHRI. Okay, this is the string. You can take any string as example, no problem. So if you want to check whether this string is written in all capital letters or not, so you can use a function called as isUpper. So what value you get as a result? False. Now remember what I said about isUpper. I said if the string has all characters written in uppercase letters, then only this function is going to give you the value true. Let's check it. S is equal to ABC, for example. I'm keeping all the characters in capital letters. And then if you check s dot isUpper, it now gives you true. So all functions starting from this word is are actually going to give you the result in the form of true or false. The reason is when you are using is functions, you are actually checking for whether they are in uppercase letters or in lowercase letters in this particular example, and there are more is functions. Okay, so they will also be doing the same thing. They will be checking something on the string, and then they will be giving you the value true or false depending on what those functions are actually doing, what their meaning actually is. So this is isUpper, and likewise you can check is lower, which will give you true if all the characters in the string are in lowercase letters. Can you check that on single character? If you have, say, capital A here, and if we write s dot isUpper, it even works then. So isUpper can check strings or single characters both, and same is the case with isLower. The next function is called as isDigit. Okay, let me store some other string first. For example, 9. So I want to check whether the value of string is by nature a digit or not, or digits or not. There might be more digits. Okay, so the function will perform the same way. So right now I'm checking it with only one digit here. Okay, so s is equal to 9, and now I'm going to check s dot isDigit. You get the value true, because yes, although it's a string, but by nature the value written inside is actually a digit. So that's why it gives you true value. Now if you have more digits here, and then when you check it again, See, it works the same way, but the condition is that all the values written here must be digit in order for this function to give you true value. Now what should happen when you include a character here, for example X? Although it contains digits now, but it also has a character inside it. So what do you think? Should it be giving true again? The answer is no, and the reason is quite simple to understand. Okay, even if one character is not a digit, then this function is going to give you the value false. So this is what isDigit is. You can also check for alphabets. Say for example S is equal to ABC. If you write S dot is alpha, so is alpha means you're checking whether the given string contains only alphabets or not. Okay, so it gives true value as a result, and you know the reason why, because all characters are alphabets. And again, if you introduce anything other than alphabets, and then when you use this isAlpha function, it's going to give you false. Okay, now the last function I want to discuss here is called isAllNum. Okay, which simply checks whether the string contains or made up of only alphabets or numbers. So let's see it with the help of an example. So if a string S is ABC 1 2 3, okay, now if you apply isAllNum, S dot isAllNum, what output should it display? It displays true. Why? Because the string is made up of either alphabets or numbers. You can have alphabets or numbers in a string. If this is the type of string, then isAllNum function is going to give true. And if you introduce anything which is not an alphabet or a number, suppose I use this hash sign here. Okay, so this string contains alphabets, numbers, as well as alphanumeric character, you can say. So S dot isAllNum is going to give you false, because the entire string is not made up of either alphabets or numbers. So I hope this isAllNum function is clear to you. So we have already discussed few functions that are operating on strings, but of course you can explore more function, because not every function we can cover here, but these are the mostly used functions that you can use for your purpose in a program. So I hope all these concepts are clear to you. If you like the content, please comment, like and share, and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.